Hey everyone, welcome to the Men of Honor podcast brought to you by Fezek Athletics, fitness gear, and supplements. And now introducing the Men of Honor fellas.
My name is Erik, Instagram Swiss Burgundy, Providence, Rhode Island.
My name's Joe Baranski, Instagram Joseph Baranski, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Greg McCray. You can follow me on Facebook under Greg McCray Jr.
And this is Frank at Fezek Frank, also Fezek Athletics from San Diego, California, currently living in Philadelphia.
All right, I'm Javon, a.k.a. Rock, at Forever King Henry 33, from Norfolk, Virginia, currently living in Philly. Last Sunday was the most recent two episodes 3 and 4 of the Last Dance, the documentary following the 1998 Chicago Bulls. I just wanted to get to know, what your fellas' thoughts was on the most recent two episodes.
I guess the first episode kind of pretty much focused on the Dennis Rodman, which was good. It pretty much gave the base of how important he was to that team, and what he did for the Bulls during that last run.
All right. I thought it was good. First things first. Big missing link to that team that a lot of people don't really talk about it because it's overshadowed by Pippen and Jordan. But like I said, I thought it was good. It took people into Rodman's mind a little bit, to actually see what he was going through and what he was thinking, what was on his mind as far as him joining, two of the greatest players that ever played the game.
Okay. Greg?
I felt like it gave insight. The two episodes, just about the third one, just about how deep like that. This is sheer. I don't want to say hatred, but just a dislike between MJ and Isaiah. How that all went. How it's just you could feel it through the screen, and
Right.
then the fourth one, how vital Dennis was, because Dennis just he brought the whole thing together. You had Scotty and Jordan concentrating on offense, and you had a dude just in defense, but you had a guy just shutting it down as far as rebounds, and they didn't have to worry about the paint. So it made their lives easier on that end.
Yeah.
But do you think, Greg, that it was more hatred, or was it? I think people look at it as hatred, but not really looking at it as it was more of competition, because Michael Jordan didn't really.
That's why I stopped myself saying hatred, but like when you play somebody and it could be a disdain, it could be a dislike, but he just don't rock with them like that. And so when you could feel that he just like when he said, as far as when they wanted to play the clip, and he was just like, man, he had how many years to look at this? Man, he just gave you a statement.
Yeah.
Now anybody else would be like, well, wanted to just hear it.
Yeah.
He was like, nah, I don't even want to hear that. Like he thought that up,
Yeah,
MJ ain't never gonna let that go.
But you got to say, man, if you in the NBA and you lose to the team 3 times in a row, like 3 times in a row, like you're gonna build some type of like competitive edge. Like you just don't like him. I don't think it was hate. I just think he was just like, they kept me from 3 chips that I could have.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying it's hate. I'm just saying it's a strong. It could be a strong dislike.
Yeah,
like I said,
strong disdain. Yeah,
yeah. Just like you just not you if like I ain't saying like if he saw him in trouble, you wouldn't help him, but like I'm saying like if he just you know what, Again, like you know how there's certain people you just give them the polite hello,
Yeah,
move about your
what's up?
business.
Just
You know what I mean?
like, what's up?
I think there was
And-
a lot of hate from Isaiah Thomas already towards Jordan. I just feel like he was always jealous of Jordan.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, Joe. What was your thoughts on the 2 episodes?
So I find it interesting, especially going now 20-something years in the future. When I watched him play as a young kid, I always thought this was just a street baller on the court, and he was out there just to hurt and do his thing. But then watching how he studied the game and he made sure he understood the other players on the other teams and how they played, how to rebound, all the time he took. It was very interesting to see that side of him, which I didn't know back 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe,
yo,
not to cut you off, I thought that was. I've never heard anybody talk about practicing rebounds.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
It's a lost
You know what I
art.
mean?
yeah,
Like that was
Listen.
crazy. Practicing rebounds.
Yeah.
Wasn't going out there getting shots up and doing anything. The man was going out there to literally practice rebounds. I thought that was crazy. Talked about the angles.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to realize being a basketball player and being a point guard, like, I'm not going to shoot the ball when my big man is behind on the defensive guy. I'm not going to shoot the ball. I'm going to wait until either he's trying to post up, he don't have a post up, and then if he goes around, now he's in front of the guy underneath the basket. Then I can shoot the ball because now he has a better chance of rebounding.
that ain't real.
So that is real, because if I'm on the wing and if Greg's post up, you know what I mean? If Greg's post up and he don't see nothing like that, and if he rotates, now he's in front of the basket, and when I shoot the ball, he has a better chance to get an over the back call than for him getting a rebound.
All right, Greg. So, how many times back in the day would you tell us like let us get down the court first before we pulling up fast break threes and shit like that?
More than I could count.
But nah, I mean, I agree with everybody. I mean, it was just, the episode 3, showing where Rodman came from, like his journey to the league, and how his mindset was like, he went from this shy kid, from Oklahoma, to this, dyeing his hair and and going wild and partying dude. And
I just want to say one thing on Rodman though. Think about this. He started real late. So he started after he played in high school.
Yeah.
So it tells you what kind of athlete he is, that he just walked on a JUCO. Wasn't even trying.
Was it JUCO or
JUCO crew? It was JUCO.
It was JUCO?
I believe. I think.
Was it D3?
I think it was D3.
All right, I'm sorry.
D3.
Okay, it was D3. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it might as well be.
even
more. but even more, like his talent was that great to go from there to the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people train their whole life to get there.
Yep.
And this dude did it on a humbug.
And they talked about like he was like 5'8", 5 something, getting out of high school, and then he grew to like 6. What was Dennis Rodman, like 6'9", 6?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
In college, that's a crazy growth spurt.
They say he's 6'11".
6'11". That's a crazy growth spurt. Like in that time, it was like over like a 3-4 year period. Like that's a crazy growth spurt. You know what I mean? Then he was in D3, averaging like 20 some points, 27 points, 20 rebounds, something crazy like that. I agree with you, Joe. Like that was just like interesting to see him studying film and studying how dudes shot the ball and how the ball would come off the rim when they shot it.
Yeah.
From, different angles. That was something that, I don't think anyone knew he was doing.
Exactly. Like,
bet you a lot will start now.
Yeah, well, I mean, we already touched on him coming from, JUCO D3. They both the same to me. They on the same level. But I mean, now we're gonna get into like, do we think, and I know we kind of touched on it. Do we think that the Bulls would have won those 3-peat or did that second 3-peat without Rodman?
Who you replacing them with though?
They don't. I'll tell you what. Maybe they beat the Sonics without him. They don't beat the Jazz without him.
I had to know who you replacing them with.
You can't replace him with not on that.
Because
maybe against the Supersonics.
Well, see, I don't even because Kemp was killing down there. Like,
yeah,
he was, and that he was. But I think you can still replace him with whoever you're gonna play. Take Rodman out of there, and I think Jordan still pulls that off in Seattle, but not in Utah.
I don't know.
To me, it just depends on who it is.
Starting to get their legs too a little bit there when they.
So who would you replace him with?
Replace who? Rodman?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You know,
anybody from like the previous Bulls team.
Well, they traded him for Purdue, so I mean, could you throw Purdue in there and they beat the Sonics? I don't know. I think Kemp would have. He would have destroyed him.
Yeah, he would have killed.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But all right, we'll put it like this: like we already know that they can win with a guy like a serviceable power forward and Forrest Grant. That's going to give you like what, like in a 10 to 15 range, and like close to almost 10 rebounds.
Yeah.
If you just have a serviceable guy that can play defense, then theoretically, they probably would win. Another 3. Because I mean, Rodman was to the extreme where he wasn't scoring, but his rebound defense was like crazy, off the charts.
Yeah.
So, in that aspect, if you got somebody that was still along the line as a decent defender and gave you a little bit more offense, then I could see them winning.
Also, got to remember
not to take anything away from him.
Who else is going to give you those offensive rebounds he was getting too?
But that's when you would need a guy to score a little bit more.
Right.
So it has to even out.
So would you saying like adding Kukoc in? Like Kukoc?
No, that.
I mean, that gives you.
It would have to be one of the big men, like a Luke Longley or a Bill Wennington.
But Luke was already starting, so who would be your 4?
Jason Caffey. He was the power forward.
But I mean,
you got to.
Pete Myers.
Pete Myers is a guard.
But hold on, let me just say this. You got to remember back in that part of the NBA, there was a lot of trades where you trade a Will Perdue for Dennis Rodman. You trade you trade a Marcus Gasol unseen for a Rookie of the Year, Paul Gasol. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so back then you probably could get like a trade where you trade a guy from a championship team, like, because he has some say, for a decent player. So it's not unheard of that it could happen.
Okay, but let's say as constructed prior to the Rodman trade. So with Will Perdue, with that team, do you think they would three-peat again with the team as it was prior to Rodman?
I think they would have a chance. I think they probably would. But the problem is, will Purdue hold up? And that's the thing.
Karl Malone would have destroyed him.
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying, like, but is Byron Russell going to hold him down, hold Jordan down? You know what I mean? Is Jeff Hornacek going to hold Scotty down so Karl Malone's points are more effective? They not.
So you saying, but the Bulls still having 2 of the 50 greats at the time, they could.
It swings the pendulum, man. You just need guys to just do their role, and at that point,
what about?
Like I said, not to take away from Rodman, he was integral in it.
Yeah.
I think if you take Rodman or Horace Grant, like Mike didn't have to. He was the game 6s, but he would have been in some game 7s without those guys.
Okay.
Do they win three-peat again? The second three-peat with Horace Grant?
I think so.
I would say.
I think so.
I would say so.
I think so.
I would say so.
But see,
if he never went to Orlando, I would say so.
But I mean, but you remember in that 98. Well, we'll talk about that later. But they had a hard time getting past the Pacers. The Pacers took them to game 7.
Indiana was,
so without Rodman, with Purdue, I don't know. I don't even know if they would have got
Listen,
the
now
finals.
that you brought that Indiana team up.
Yeah, because they was physical. They had them Davis boys, and all that. What about you, Joe? Did you think they would have won?
Well, it's kind of interesting. So he made a comment about that. Rodman did, and he said that without him, there was no winning. So I wonder, because you think about it, and if we look at our aspect, we all worked together, even with like 8 or 9 of us, whatever we had on the teams. I was MIA for many years, but when we all played, everybody had a specific job that they did. Everybody did it well, and we made it look easy. So I think Rodman's job and what he was doing was very important to the team. So, it's hard to say, like you guys said in the beginning, it all depends on who's the replacement for Rodman. Like, who would have been the trade?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's a big key feature to find out.
Okay.
Right.
Frank?
And we all said the same person, Horace Grant.
Frank, what about you?
They won't with Horace Grant without him either.
You think so? You think without Rodman they still could have won?
I think if Horace Grant never got traded, Horace Grant would give him a little bit more points on that end, and probably not more rebounds, but I guess an even stat line. And they won 3 with Grant, with Horace Grant.
But let's say Horace Grant gone because he was gone. Let's say with Purdue.
Yeah, then Jordan's points and shots going up.
Okay.
He's gonna find a way to win. He's gonna find a way. Just like he won Game 6 against Utah. They ran the same play twice. He recognized it and stole the ball. So he's gonna find a way.
Okay.
It wasn't no lucky play or anything like that. They ran the twice. They came down, they scored off of it, then they tried to do it again, and Jordan just came from behind and got Carmelo and stole the ball.
That's also with Rodman guarding Malone and standing him up a little bit,
Well, Malone gonna get his.
Yeah, he's gonna get his. It's everybody else.
But you're not going to stop a superstar in the league, right? Like everyone knows that. Like your thing to do is just make it difficult for him. Make them look over their shoulder so Jordan can come off the blind side and get the steal. Like,
can I say something?
Yeah.
All right. Now, Will Purdue. So he's gonna grab all those rebounds. And that Game 6, Dennis Rodman grabbed quite a few offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Will Purdue's going to make up for that? Make up those points? Those offensive rebounds? I don't think so, man.
He just got to do what he got to do.
Karl Malone would have killed him on the board, and the Bulls would have never got those couple of second chance offensive rebounds that Dennis Rodman without Will Purdue.
Yeah, you got to figure out who you're going to put at the forward. Real Purdue is not sticking Karl Malone. It depends on.
That's what I'm saying. They even tried to put Kukoc on him. He's too thin.
So who's going to play? Antoine Carr?
Yeah, he did. He was balling for Utah in that one. He was.
Yeah, but not like that. He wasn't even a starter. It was Greg.
Yeah, Ostertag.
Carr was coming off the bench.
But they would take Ostertag out and put Carr in. You know what I mean? Because he was giving them that grit.
Yeah, because Carr can step out and get that little shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking about Michael Jordan, so I mean, he's going to find a way.
I mean, so you lean in that because it's Mike, they still would have found a way without Rodman. Okay.
Yeah.
So do we think Dennis Rodman was the greatest rebounder of all times?
Absolutely, hands down.
I agree.
Great. I would say he's top 5. Me personally.
Who's the greatest?
Probably.
If you're going, it'd be Will.
Like,
you talking about guys like Wilt and Russell were getting like 50.
I ain't getting into no Wilt convo, man.
Yeah, we ain't talking about it. Listen, 85.
Hold on, let me just say this. He didn't do any offense. All he did was concentrate on rebounds, which is not bad. But if you're not, it's just like if somebody just scores all the time and don't do nothing else.
But that's
you can't,
like James Harden.
You can't.
He could
Well,
score.
you can't sit there and say someone's the greatest if they're not doing the totality of the whole game.
But
you know what I mean?
Said,
like, well, me personally, I can't.
We said rebounder, not basketball player.
Okay, but I put more,
that skill.
Me personally, I put more weight on a guy that's getting 40 and then getting 25 rebounds versus a guy that's getting 25 rebounds, 4 points.
But he didn't need to score.
You know what I mean? I didn't say he does need to score 40, but you should be getting a double-double. I said top 5. I said top 5.
Well, who's your 5 real quick? Let's go.
My 5, I would say Wilt, Russell. Put me in the spot. I'm trying to think of rebounders. Wilt, Russell. I'm gonna go with Kareem. And mostly it's going to be centers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I got Wilt.
I guess you can go Rodman 4. That's about, but like I said, top 5.
See, I can't. Nothing against Wilt, but Wilt was playing. Them dudes couldn't jump over a phone book. I'm just. And they was like 5'9". So
that was no comment.
Sorry.
It don't make them less than
5'9" white guys. I'm sorry. I
mean, a lot of the guys he was going up against were like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 7 foot.
When we talking about rebounding, are we talking about just you're tall and getting a rebound?
Yeah, that's
body on
Shaq was a great rebounder. He averaged 12, 13 rebounds for his career.
And you know what? I forgot Shaq. That's my
bad. Like, so
I picked Rodman over Shaq, but I got Wilt and Rodman.
What about Tim Duncan?
Tim Duncan, another one. Like,
the way he rebound, he over the top dude. He likes to tap it over the top.
There's still a rebound.
Charles Barkley.
No, but it's not a boxer. Charles Barkley, yeah, he's a good. He's a great rebounder.
But see, everybody you guys are naming are dropping 20.
But that's
and then getting like 20 to 50, like getting that 50. Like he literally was averaging 18 rebounds and single-digit points, where somebody else is like 5 rebounds under him, and they got 20. They averaging 20 points. You can't sit there and say that guy's a greater rebounder just because he.
But they team
concentrated on one.
They was all the guys we named besides Rodman was featured the number one options on their team. So yes, and
still gave you effort on defense.
And they're 7 feet tall. And they 7 feet tall. They could just reach their arms. You 7 feet tall, you just got to reach up and grab a rebound.
Oh, let me ask you this: how many rebounds Greg Ostertag get?
I see him kill.
Not everybody get rebounds, bro. Just because you're tall doesn't mean you get rebounds. It's an effort. It is literally effort. That's it.
I agree with that.
But that's what I'm saying. But all the dudes that you named are great. Like, they great scorers, centers.
Okay, so they should be put above somebody that just concentrated on one.
For Rodman to be 6'10", not, these guys, Wilt weighed like what? Close to 3?
That's just like saying what center had the best mid-range jump shot. You're gonna start naming different things, different categories, different players, things. So we're talking about rebounding right now. So when I say rebounding, like I said, but you got a point. Just because you're tall doesn't mean you can rebound. I'm thinking about putting a body on somebody like Charles Barkley, aggressively going up to grab rebounds, hustling, not just I'm tall, I got it.
Yeah, which is what Wilt did.
Tall that still are good at grabbing rebounds.
No, Wilt was bad. Well, you have to figure how strong Wilt was.
Exactly. Rock, you selling him short, bro. You selling him short.
Hold on. Hold on. And you got to go back and look at the history, because when you say Wilt, you automatically think, oh, everybody's 5'9", 6 foot. No, all those players that he was going up against was 6'8", 6'9", 7 foot guys.
The only one. That's the only one he played against, and he lost every time he played.
A lot of those white centers back in the day.
But hold on. You making it seem like he lost to like Bill Russell and some scrubs. Bill Russell's team was like 6 deep, bro. That's like they was
hold on. No one's saying that Bill Russell's team wasn't good. Now Wilt was on some good teams too. So Like we not gonna sit up here and be like Wilt was just the only one. But no, like when he played against Bill Russell, he lost. Like that's just it.
Yeah,
that's just it. He lost.
His numbers were
So,
ridiculous.
you got James Harden got crazy numbers and loses. That don't mean nothing.
Nah. Don't do that. Don't put Wilt with that Harden stat chasing, bro. Don't put him with the Harden stat chasing. Harden stat chases, and you know that because you saw what happened when he was trying to beat that Jordan record with that 30 points, and he down like 9 points. It's under a minute, and he's chasing a 3-pointer to keep a streak alive. Come on, man. Don't put Wilt in that kind of category. Wilt got his own
talking about having great numbers and not winning.
He did win. He won 2 championships. Harden has not won a championship.
Okay, I'm talking about going against Bill Russell.
Yeah, bro, do you understand how good Bill Russell and that team was? I'm trying.
You saying
how did your starting 5 make the Hall of Fame? Your 6 man make
have
the
all
Hall
those
of
greats
Fame?
on his team? So that's what you saying. Wilt didn't have no Hall of Famers on his team.
I say he had none, but he ain't have 6.
Right.
He have 6.
He only had
and the coach.
But he played
the coach, bro.
Right. But when he played Boston at the time, he had Jerry West and Baylor. But before then, he didn't have none of those.
He had Hal Greer and somebody else. But like what I'm trying to tell you is, like I'm sorry, I'm selling them short. You had Auerbach, who was a Hall of Famer. Then Russell, Hall of Famer. Bob Cousy, Hall of Famer. Big Hondo coming off the bench. So like literally from the coach all the way down to like your 6 or 7 guy, they got Hall of Famers, bro. Like which team is? Come on, man. People was upset in the NBA when the Warriors just had 4 people.
No, I get
Come on.
All right. Well, I say yeah. I think he was the greatest rebounder of all. To me, he was just for the fact of his height, his hustle, like his IQ with it. Like I say the great. I'm not saying Wilt and them wasn't great rebounders, but they 7 feet tall and whatever.
That's height, bro.
All right. So now let's move on to when they started getting into the Pistons and the Bulls matchup. The Jordan rules. What's your thoughts on those?
Who's going first?
Go ahead.
I love it, man. You know me. I love the physicalness of the game, the physicality, man, and it's just they couldn't stop him, man, and they had to do something. I mean, at that time the game was physical, but like everybody, we ain't never seen anybody come in the league and do what they did. So I mean, seeing what Jordan was doing, and nobody could stop it. So they had to come up with a way to slow him down, which it really didn't work. But I thought it was good. I liked it, man.
Joe?
I loved it. I loved it. I mean, if the Pistons didn't do that, I don't think Jordan would have been the player he is today and what he accomplished, because, I mean, that gave him the drive to keep coming back year after year until he beat them. And then once he got on top, he was like, I've been through everything. There's nobody going to take me off the top now.
Joe?
So, I mean, I see the value in it. I was one to heckle people when I was on the court. So that was just on a professional level. They, if you mentally get in his head by beating him down, he's not going to play right. So they did the right thing.
Right, I agree. I agree. I mean, if you're fouling the hell out of a guy and the game is intense and the difference between trying to kill somebody and take them out and playing the game physical. Some hard fouls.
Some of them fouls was trying to take them out. They trying to clothesline.
Well,
there.
That was flagrant. A lot of it was flagrant, but I'm saying though, like hey, you found me, I'm getting them. Hey, it is what it is. Next time I'm gonna come get you down the court. But I think that brought a new edge to basketball. It brought more.
That was going on in basketball, for eons. Like, they just I think because it was on mic and it was so like, magnified that's what, but, Dr. J and all them would get fouled like that,
Yeah, but now you're fouling the GOAT. You're fouling Michael Jordan every time. Now
the guy.
you're fouling people will watch the game.
You can't be doing that.
All right, Greg, what you think?
I thought that they did what they had to do to get the W. I mean, if you a Bulls fan, you hated it. If you a Pistons fan, you said what foul? And if you were a Jordan fan, you thought he was getting stabbed on every play. Like, yo, I could have sworn he hit him with a baseball bat. And if you're a fan of basketball, you're just like, I hope he going to play next game. So I mean, they just did what they had to do, and then for me, like, it was good to see all that. I mean, we all seen the Bad Boys documentary, but seeing it from this side of how Jordan and all them took it, and how they responded, and I think the best part of that whole situation was when he realized he had to pick Scotty up because he knew he needed Scotty because he's like, you know what, I need him if I'm gonna get past these dudes. And once he made that realization, man, talk about this taking over a league. That's where it went.
It made stronger. I said it made him stronger.
That's what I was gonna say. Like it just made him. It just gave Mike that hunger. I mean, he was already motivated and hungry. Like that just sent him to another level. And then, like you said, Greg, like he realized looking at the team, like for me to get past these boys, like, and he could see the talent in Scotty, and he was like, I need to bring him with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was a good point. So, do you think that brand of that style of play will work today? That style of bad boy defense will work in today's NBA?
Because everybody want to play, man. They're too soft. They're too soft today.
No, the league wouldn't allow it. Number one, you saw what happened with Embiid just giving somebody an elbow and like a little love tap on the chin. Like the league was ready to hand out 2 techs, ejections. Like, nah, man, they not nah.
They hand out to
like you look at somebody, they give you a technical foul. Like what? Like, I can't even look at the ball like that no more.
It's real rap, man.
Everybody's so quick to air up.
Yeah, but hold on, to get back to that Jordan rule, like the way they broke down the Jordan rules was ridiculous. The way they did it. I mean, like they said, anything that Jordan if he gets the ball on the baseline, you forcing him middle.
Mm-hmm. You hit him. You hit him.
you elbow before. That's crazy. You gotta figure when you on the 3-point line. As soon as you take a dribble in, you gotta pull up.
Mm-hmm. They just want to funnel him. It was like everything was funnel. You funnel him to that next man, and you just get a crowd.
And if he try to get up off the ground, you hit him.
He was so
That's great. I mean, to be on the offensive end, be a Michael Jordan, like you sitting there like, what the heck can I do? You know what I mean? And then coming back
they swept them. They swept them when they made it to the finals in '91. Yeah, they swept them.
Now, can you say the Pistons created a new style of defense?
No, because that defense, like I said, it was physical brand in the '80s. That's what it was. Like, it was a physical brand of ball, and Isaiah and them touched on it. That's how defense was played.
But hold on. Let me just say this, right? It was physical in the playoffs, but it was only when teams had animosity to it. Like you would see hard fouls in like
Boston and the Pistons, Philly and Boston. Yeah, those good teams had that towards each other.
You see, okay, but like you didn't really see it with like the other teams. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go back and look, like when the Rockets were playing, you ain't seen them clotheslining nobody. When they had Keem Olajuwon, Ralph Sampson.
Yeah, but they weren't like the top echelon teams. Like if you go back and look at like Boston and Philly, early '80s, right? Boston, LA,
right?
Like them boys, which was like with the Bulls and because remember they was always meeting in the conference finals.
Remember, they was playing each other 6 times.
Right. But remember, the Pistons. No, the Pistons just. Yeah, but
because they knew he was the next one.
Mike,
like they know. Like you can look at Mike. You can look at Mike in 80, 84, 85. And like I say, like we said last podcast, Bird calling this boy God in a Bulls uniform. You knew he was coming. Like, you knew it.
But you gotta look at this from this aspect. So, all right, the bad boys beget the New York Knicks with Pat Riley, right? And that once the Knicks and the Rockets got into a finals, and you literally had guys that couldn't shoot, and you got like 85, 78 final game. Bro, the league, that's when the league was just like, man, enough of this.
Shit, even the Spurs. The Spurs was the same way when they was winning them chips early on. Like, shit was horrible.
Everybody thought that was well, no, they just went from the brand of basketball that they were playing. They wasn't fouling nobody like that. I'm talking about the brand of that, like, we gonna hack you if you get in the lane. You get a fast break, we gonna hack you. That's where the clear path came in. All that was to try to, like, okay, this is enough. We're gonna leave that in the early 90s, late and 80s, and all that. We're gonna leave that behind. We're gonna we're not doing that in 2000s. And like, it worked for the Pistons. They got 2 chips out of it, so good on them. But like, they did change the league on that one. Those Jordan rules now you end up with wide open lanes and stuff now because of the Jordan rules.
Everybody afraid to touch each other, like, breathe on each other.
You got no fouls. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happened.
All right. What about you, Joe? What's your thoughts?
I don't. I think you guys are all right. I don't know if they could do that today. You know, I think it's different. I do. I think the refs pay a little more attention. And I think they're trying to avoid the physical fighting too. I mean, we had a few years. When was that? When those guys jumped into the stands?
Are you talking about the Pistons?
Yeah.
I mean the Pacers.
Now, so the Palace.
The brawl at the Palace.
Yeah. I mean, try to avoid that stuff.
But that wasn't like from court stuff. That was just, a fan throwing a beer on the ball after,
That's where it started on the court, and then
but it's always scuffles on the court, and I mean that's just ball. Like, you gonna get in a scuffle, like, you gonna push, because that's how Ben Wallace pushed the shit out of Ron Artest. It was a scuffle, like, but when you got the fans throwing stuff on players, that's a different story. Like, come on now, like, I know you paid hundreds of dollars to be near the court, but that don't give you the right to throw a beer on me.
I would see Ron Artest and Rodman go at it.
Listen, I was on the same team going to work.
Yeah, I like to see that. They both kind of
the two of them on the same team.
All right, now let's get back to the top. So like they highlighted like Doug Collins coaching Mike, right, and Mike having like his best years. I think one of those years when he averaged like 37, right. Do you think they would have won? Like, because you remember they fired Doug and brought Phil on. What was that, like 89, 90? Do you think if they would have if Doug would have stayed the coach, the head coach, you think they would have won the chip?
No. Nope. Not even.
Yeah,
nah.
but
and you want to know why? Look at Houston. Look at Houston, bro. You give the guy keys to the car, you don't make him play ball. You know what I mean? One dude have the ball. Hey, we're gonna win. You can't do it for 82 games plus.
But they got to game 7. Remember, hold up. Remember, they got to game 7, but Pip had the migraine. Remember?
Okay, and that's
but
great.
Pip, he was without Pip, though. He was without Pip.
Hey, it is what. Right, I'm just saying, like, it's impossible.
So you think they'll get to the finals, but
though.
you don't think they would have beat the Lakers?
Even if they would have got to the finals, it's like you got to think about it. You making it easy.
You got one man with the ball.
You making it easy for the defense. You find the right defensive team, they're gonna scheme it out, man. Either that or they're gonna make the dude work enough that he's gonna be tired. Now, granted, it's Jordan, so you don't know what's going to happen because he's that great of a player. But I mean, to me, nah, I can't see it, and I'm only mean to say that Harden's in his class.
Yeah, the fact
I'm
that
just
it's one
talking
guy.
about the fact that one guy with the ball, and he's running through the offense all by himself.
Right. Even Magic said that when they was in the finals. He said they knew we were trying to shut Jordan down, and what killed him was when Paxson was open, and Phil told Jordan like, Paxson is open, start hitting him. So I think if Collins was there, he would probably have told Michael to keep going and going, and I think they would have lost. They would have lost to LA.
Yeah, like Frank was saying about the whole Paxson thing. If Collins was coaching, I think it would have been too much on Mike. Would have been too much. All right, Mike, what are we gonna do? He wouldn't have been able to do that by himself. He needed Phil. He needed that brain. He needed that. He needed the mastermind. To tell him to pass it to John Paxson over there. He needed Phil. He wouldn't have been able to do it by himself. So
Joe?
Yeah. No, they wouldn't have beat the Lakers.
I can't say I have a clear opinion on this one.
Okay, go ahead, elaborate.
Do you think Mike would have been able to do it alone against Magic?
I mean,
that's really the question.
No, I don't think so. I don't. The problem comes down to is you got a strong LA team at that point. What would he been able to do? You know what I mean? Like he would have been outmatched. Especially,
I mean, was they strong? Who did they have outside of Magic? Worthy was old.
They had a good supporting cast. I mean, that was the running gun team. Like that was their.
He was old. Worthy might have retired like the next year.
No.
he was old.
All right. I mean, they still had Byron Scott. I think they still had AC Green.
They had Vlade Divac.
Like
Kendrick Perkins. They had Big Perk was there.
Yeah.
Sam Perkins. I mean.
But who would you take? Would you take Vlade? Would you take Vlade Divac or would you take Bill Cartwright?
Cartwright.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Cartwright.
I be hate on
All right, so I mean, so y'all saying Phil was the better coach? Okay.
I'll say this: Phil was the one that every player needs a coach that's going to hold them accountable to try to be better. So Phil was the voice to let him know, like, yo, Frank and Whit pulled it out.
Yeah.
Yo, Paxson's open, shoot it.
Yeah.
Pass it to him and let him shoot it. He hit a couple jumpers, and you need that. Everybody needs that. They have their eyes open and sit there and go, oh snap, because it actually slows everything down for him. So now all of a sudden he was just like, yo, I drove the lane, saw he was open, I gave it to him, he hit it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm gonna do now. Like, so he figured out the formula, and that's like go back into the Pistons drawing. That's how he knew to get once he got Pippen up. It was just all the maturation. I think that's the most thing out of episode 3 that I took away was just a maturation of him going from superstar to championship player, because he was just learning, like, okay, trust my teammates more, and that was what Phil was really wanting him to do from the onset, from when he got the job, the whole triangle.
I think that was dope how they gave that insight, that inside look of Phil, like going at Mike, like, Mike, who, like, if you getting double team, who's open? And he was like, Paxson. He's like, then give him the ball. I think that was dope. I think that was dope how they showed it.
It's an attitude, a motivation, a deep-seated spirit. It's an inner strength to keep your feet planted firmly on the ground, no matter what presses against you. It's self-confidence. It's belief. It's a way of life. It's Fezek Athletics. Shop now at www.fezekeathletics.com to get your fitness gear now. Conquer your physique.
Then they go they go into episode 4, and then now they're talking about Rodman saying he needs a vacation in the middle of the season. What's your thoughts on Phil bringing Mike in and tell him that Rodman need a vacation during the season?
Can I get on that one first?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
So
Yeah.
definitely,
I think that for me that was bad business. It worked, which is terrible. Sometimes you got to take a risk at that, but I think it's bad business. You have other people on the team that may actually look up to Dennis Rodman, and when they say, "Well, he was allowed to leave for 48 hours," and of course he didn't make it back in the 48 hours, but you got people now saying like, well, then, I want to take off. I want to disappear. I don't want to be here, and I think it was a bad move, even though it worked. It was a bad move.
Okay. Greg?
Me, I look at it as Phil did what he had to do to make sure Dennis was dialed in. He don't do that, Dennis ain't dialed in, and then the whole team suffers. So I think he did that just to, hey, I'm going to keep him. I want him to go do whatever, get whatever out of his system he has to get out. And when you come back, you here for the stretch run. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, that's why Phil was such a good coach back then.
Frank?
I thought it was good for Dennis Rodman to take that vacation, and the way Phil can relate to Rodman, like, when Phil was stating that, when Rodman came in, I guess when they first drafted him and they saw the native Indian and
connection,
the native Indian, artifacts on that connection. So, you're dealing with a kid, Dennis Rodman, at the time that, he left the Spurs. Nobody really wanted him, and he was doing all this crazy stuff outside of the NBA. And to sit there to, relate to him, Rodman needed that. I don't think any other players would have come to him and say, I need a vacation. He would have said no, because just on the fact of how important Rodman was to that team.
Yeah, like Frank said, they just had a different bond. They had a different relationship. At that point in time, man, Rodman was all fucked up. Like, we have never seen anybody like Dennis Rodman in the league at that time. That was something different.
Hell no.
I mean, I don't think you've seen anybody in the league like that since him. I think like he's a one of one.
Yeah. Right. Like, it was bananas. Like, we all trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with Dennis Rodman, man. But after a while, you just like, fuck it, that's Dennis Rodman. But like Frank said, he touched all the points. The relationship, they had a special bond, and if anybody else would have asked for a vacation, it would have been no. But Dennis Rodman needed that, and and it worked. It worked for them, and like Frank said, Phil, the bond that they had was special, and that's something only Dennis Rodman would be able to get away with one time, and that's it.
I wanted to add one more thing too. You got to remember at that time, Scotty was out, so Mike relied on Rodman. The way Rodman is, and like he even said, like when he realized that Michael needed him, he stepped his whole game up. He probably was averaging like 10 to 15 points, 20-something rebounds. And then when Scotty comes back,
he fell out of sorts.
He had to fall back to the third wheel, and he's like,
he was scoring the basketball.
Right. And then when Pippen came back, it was just like he had to go back to the third wheel, and he was just like
back to his regular role.
And then Rodman, and we know Rodman was like, they paid them and they talked about like he was emotional, right? Like, so he went from having the high of Mike needing him and and him being the second option to, all right, well, now I'm the third option and I'm kind of like the forgotten one, and he felt kind of out of sorts, so he needed that break to get himself back into sorts. And a vacation, we all know what that meant for Rodman. That means partying and doing whatever. So and
gotta remember what Phil used to remember how they said Phil was. So that was another
Yep.
reason why they
Yeah,
never
Phil was a
did it.
hippie. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a hippie and all that. So yeah, you like I said, and
Yeah.
We're talking about,
yeah,
we talk about
you
he
know
was
what I
doing
mean?
acid and stuff like that.
Pretty much it was go do what the fuck you gotta do, get that shit out of your system, come back, let's ball.
Yeah, but then like Joe said though, like it was for 48 hours and then he didn't come back and Mike had to get him. what was your thoughts on Mike having to go get this ball?
Yeah. I can Mike was probably cussing his ass out.
I would have preferred there was a little more description of Carmen Electra and what was going on.
Yeah, we know you would.
I would love to see that. Look at that.
Joe, you can go to
Angela Yee.
What's the chick name on the Breakfast Club, right? Yeah, she had a podcast with Carmen Electra.
Yeah. Go check that out on YouTube, Joe.
Take a listen to that if you want to. Yeah. But I wanted to touch back on the topic where I was talking about Rodman being, the second superstar and falling back. So it's kind of like, when somebody get hurt on the team and then they bring somebody off the bench and you come in and you start producing and then all of a sudden the guy comes back in. Now you got to go back to the bench. You know what I mean? For a player to keep going back and forth, it does mess up with you. It messes your confidence. So I think that when you said that he went back to his regular role, it wasn't meaning like, he was feeling like he was a part of something, as being the third wheel, he was doing his regular job. That's what he does. That's what he does.
It's just like in the Northampton League when Greg came back and Frank came back and I was there. And remember, Will was he was the second, and then Greg and Frank came back and Will didn't know what to do with himself.
It's like that for everybody. Everybody has that feeling. Maybe unless you've been playing in the league for years. Like, obviously, if you're scoring 25 a game and then somebody comes back and now you're like, damn, back to 13 and a half a game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just that feeling. Like, it's like, damn, it's like, all right, well, it was fun while it lasted. Now it's back to what it was.
All right. So after all that, Rodman, Jordan gets Rodman, and then, he's back in practice. And feels like, all right, we got to get this boy back in shape. He's been gone for however long he was gone. I don't think they ever really – did they give a timeline how long he was gone? I don't think they did. But so now – so now they're doing running drills, and Mike, telling everybody, like, all right, look, let's do a jog so that, it can look like, Rodman's, and, he's in shape. He ain't that out of shape. And then then they say Rodman's sitting up there lapping them. Like, what's your thoughts on him as an athlete? Like, going from partying to being able to come in and just run and not get tired?
Question, real quick. Has anybody ever enjoyed doing that run?
Have you?
Has anybody ever enjoyed that run real quick?
I mean, I ain't have a problem with it when I was younger. I ain't have a problem with it.
I thought it was the worst. When you had to do it on the rail track, I thought it was one of the worst fucking things ever.
Oh yeah, it depends who's doing it. It depends on who your teammates.
But you always got one of them boys that never played, and they trying to go all extra hard like Rudy or something, and knowing they never gonna get on the court. Like, you always got somebody that's gonna run extra hard and try to impress the coach. Like,
the play.
Man, when I was in shape, that ain't bothering.
What was he? What was he trying to prove though? Like, he didn't have anything to prove at that point. He wasn't trying to impress the coach.
Nah, but I'm saying he was just. But to him, it was just running. He wasn't like Phil thought he would be out of shape, but he wasn't. Like,
well, you gotta. Yeah, he would be on the bike when he would come out of the game.
Like, he just had. It seemed like he just had endless energy. I mean, which makes sense if you look at his effort on defense and rebounding. Like, this boy didn't look like he got tired on the court.
His athletic ability, like his stamina and endurance, is ridiculous. Like, who out of the game?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, but he was out partying.
Here we go.
You know he's doing coke. You know he's doing. Oh, you coming doing all that like that's ridiculous.
And you gotta remember, man, this is like the time when Marilyn Manson and all the those kind of people was real big. All right, that's what I wanted to ask. Was the man a rock star? Can I ask that question? Would you consider Dennis Rodman a rock star at that time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not? He did. Remember in the finals, you know, he didn't go to practice. He went to that WWE
was he a rock star at that time?
So he skipped practice in the finals.
I mean, he had security and a crowd around him just like Mike did. So yeah, I mean, you know, but he was more of a rock star because he appealed to those, you know, those type of people like the Madonnas and all them other rock, you know, people in that rock and roll stuff. So
hey, maybe that was the way of him shining because maybe he thought he wasn't getting the right shine on the court, so maybe that was his other way of getting attention to the team.
You got anything to add to that, Greg?
Yeah.
Nah.
All right, so I mean, we kind of touched on Phil's philosophy, you know, as a coach. You know, I guess like from what I gathered from this doc, because you know they jump back and forth. You know, they go from the past to the current, you know, to '98, which was current in that. Like my takeaway from Phil though, as a coach, his philosophy was the greatest thing about Phil was he knew how to manage talent and personalities, right? Like it wasn't necessarily the X and O's because you know he had Tex Winter for that. It was more so him managing, you know, the superstar and star players' personalities. What's y'all thoughts on that, Greg?
My takeaway from Phil, I think he was, as you said, like he knew his strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
He leaned on Tex Winter, and
he
was good at reading personalities and trying to get people to understand growth as people because it makes you better. And he's the type of guy that got people to buy in. And I think any coach would tell you if you get people to buy in, it's so much easier for you to coach them, and they get more out of it, and they become better players because they're willing. So I think he was what Jordan needed at the time, and I think he was a good coach because of all those traits. Because a lot of coaches don't have those traits. A lot of coaches will just, it's my system, run my system.
Yeah.
And some of them aren't worried about you as a person. You know what I mean? And they're not trying to learn what makes you tick. They just want to use fear-based coaching or what have you, or incentives, whatever. So no, I think Phil was right on time.
Yeah, I agree a lot with Greg. What I did like though is when he first met Dennis Rodman. Remember, Dennis Rodman sat in the chair, didn't get up, didn't say shake his hand or anything like that.
Yeah,
he told him to take his hat off, stand up, shake his hand, and come outside and then talk to me. So he definitely had a discipline to him, and I agree. He was able to relate to everybody too. Like I think being in the sport, coaching in the different leagues that he coached in, I think he was able to relate a lot better too.
Yeah. Frank?
Yeah, I mean, Greg, nailed it on the head already. I mean, the way Phil coach, I mean, there's really not really too many coaches out there that takes, the responsibility to relate to their players and, know how they feel on certain plays and, throughout the game. Okay. So, I mean, my thoughts on Phil is the same way as Greg.
I agree with everybody. I just want to say, also he was assistant coach there, and he actually played basketball as well. Like, he just wasn't some coach that, just coached in. He actually played in the league for years and was actually pretty decent. So, maybe that had an effect on the players and like everybody said, like He's a good coach, man. Great coach. Great coach.
All right. Good point.
Everybody already said everything.
All right, we can move on. All right, so we kind of touched on Tech's Winters. He was the constructor of the triangle offense. Now, what's your thoughts, on him, Tex, Phil, and Mike butting heads over the triangle offense when they first instituted to the Bulls? Whit?
Say it again. My fault.
We talking about like Tex, like how Tex Winter was the creator of the triangle offense.
Yeah. Okay. I think the triangle offense was good. Like the way it spaced out everybody, and what they was running before was just all through Michael. They really wasn't running any plays, and what's his name? Krause wanted that guy for years, to show coaches that system. Doug Collins didn't want to run it, so I think Phil actually taking the time out to actually want to study that offense and try to perfect it as well as he can, and then teach it, to Jordan, which also try to teach him, to play a little more team ball, instead of just having to do it by himself, kind of almost the same thing he did, with Cole.
Yeah, Frank.
I think with Tex coming in, and I think Krause getting Phil Jackson involved, and then Finer and Doug Collins, I think that was got them over the hump. The offense opened up so many opportunities to score. I mean, and a lot of people don't realize off the triangle, there's 33 cuts off one possession. Like, you got to imagine you're coming out of the court, throwing the ball, and seeing 33 cuts.
Yeah.
That's hard to guard because you're going to fall asleep on one of them. You're going to fall asleep on one of them. It's not just, when you hear the triangle, it's just a triangle on one side. No, it's the back cuts, the cut throughs, the replacing and stuff like that. So that got Mike over the top because
Nobody
the Pistons couldn't guard it.
No.
Especially when you add Pitts.
It was a new offense.
Right? No. So nobody has ever seen this offense.
Yeah, nobody's seen the offense, but you got to realize so many cuts were going through. You can't bump, and you can't guard that because the man's just going through. What can you do? And while you're watching the ball, the ball might be going behind you. So I just think the offense kind of helped Mike get over that hump.
A year and a half to get it down all the way.
Got to see. As soon as Phil and Tex went to LA. Yeah, Kobe and them, Kobe and Shaq couldn't win. They couldn't get out the way. Yeah, Phil and Tex. Boom. Yeah. Open everything up because now you can't just guard Kobe and Shaq. You can't just guard them. Because they're getting the ball. Like I said before in the other podcast, they're getting the ball in a position where it's just one-on-one.
I think I agree with a lot of points that everybody was making. And you look at it, and if you try to teach it, it's hard to teach. But because Frank says, a lot of cuts off of it, and they're running a lot of actions and stuff. But as he said, guys would get their one-on-ones. You rarely seen Jordan catch the ball. It was two guys on him. He was one-on-one.
Post.
Either on the elbow, or in the low post. But he was one-on-one. And then if you can do that, if the offense can get your best player one-on-one and the team can't double, the offense doing the job. And it'd be nice to see more offenses like that.
Yeah.
Than just straight pick and roll offense, for 100 possessions. You know what I mean? Just run.
I mean, that'll be. I mean, but now in the NBA they got the zone, right? So you can zone up on that. Back then you had to guard a man, and if you was doubling, you had to really double. You couldn't have 1 foot out the. You know what I mean? You couldn't do that half double crap that they be doing now.
Yep.
Yeah, I know they had to stop it. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But remember, that was because of the triangle offense.
Yeah.
You You had to guard somebody. You couldn't just be, you know. I think that's what the Sixers need. I think the Sixers get to turn
Hey
off
man, ain't no damn sister talk on this.
That's why I said I don't have
it. Nah, Joe. What's you, Joe? No.
Hold on. Let me Frank. Hold on. Hold on. Just listen. So my point to that is you are correct, Frank. I have said that many times that Brett Brown's offense doesn't. It doesn't. Only you don't care. But the point being is, if they had if they were running different actions that actually helped Ben and Joel Embiid, like if they got the 1-on-ones, like it would be like they win it with no coaching
and then when they do, they dock. 20 years from now, we can talk on it. Joe, what's your thoughts on Taps winning?
So we're now at the part where I kind of dropped off. I don't know the rest of the episode at this point, but I'm just gonna say the only constant is change. It's always gonna change. A new strategy is gonna come out. You have to learn it. You have to be ahead of the game.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, we already touched on Jordan. Building up Pip and how important that was. I know this is something we all did. Like when we was really playing. Frank maybe not so much, but we would all lift weights, right? Like we all knew the importance of being, like having that muscle. You know what I mean? To be able to play physical and take contact. Like so, like what was y'all like? Like what's your thoughts on Mike doing that? And then now, he basically started something that everyone did, right? Like because before that. He said we really didn't lift weights. We'll go in there, mess around. But now that's a main focus of all players today, like being in the weight room. Like, what's your thoughts on Mike adding 15 pounds of muscle?
I don't know why.
It's show muscles.
I don't know why they in the weight room. They don't get fouled. They look wait. Yeah, I'm getting. Ain't nobody touching you in the league.
You stand in front of LeBron and let him run you over.
What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that, Greg?
I would say that's really what really changed. Because I remember that year he came back after what's the name? He was noticeably different. So you're looking at it, and him and Pitt, regardless of what the rest of the Bulls was doing, him and Pitt was always on another level than everybody else as wing players. So just watching it, I would say it really did change the game. And now guys they gotta be in shape. Like you gotta be on your stuff because if you're not, that next man's working. And if your talent is just, close. If he's working that little bit extra, it's going to give him that edge. So I think at this point, guys understand the need for it.
I think it's more condition. I think today's game. I think if you stay in condition, meaning you can last 4 quarters, where you're not huffing and puffing. I think today's game is more condition than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Ron don't lift weights. Ron mostly do, fans.
Yeah, but that's just a new way. That's just a new way of training. It's still weights.
Yeah,
but you're not giving your body the impact because as basketball players, you don't need football muscles to play basketball. So you need more lean, long muscles. So that's why
he may lift weights. It'd just be lightweight. Lightweight. And everything, a lot of reps, stretching. Stretching lifts. Things that
he's not working.
Yeah, that and they want low impact
Joe?
too.
Take Rodman as an example. I'm going to go back to Rodman on that. He was conditioned, and he was constantly on the cycles. In the gym, he was constantly doing, I think he was on a stepping machine the one time on the video. He conditioned himself to do it. So, there's a need for it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. What? That's key.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, Joe. Like
Yeah,
the condition part is
That's always
in today's game is key. I think with Mike, it was more of I have to be strong. It's not about condition. It's more of I have to take these hits. I have to take these holds. I got to take these, throw them to the ground. I think it was more of a muscle thing. So Mike had it was more of I got to
go
build
right
his
through
muscle.
that.
So like when I get bumped in the air or they holding me, I can push them off and then still finish. Back then it was
We got to remember,
muscle.
you add weight
That's
like
what
that,
everybody
though,
says now.
you
It's
get
like
slower.
he added
You're not going to
15
keep your
pounds.
speed.
It's the type of weight you add. Like you can add 15 pounds, but like Greg was saying and like Frank was saying, like it's the type of lifts and the type of exercises you do to add that. Yeah. So you
can add muscle where your body fat is like 5%, 6%.
It's
Or
hard.
you can add muscle where it's 15 to 20 pounds of fat and you got muscle. So there's two different types of muscle. I think Mike was more of just solid muscle. Like you saw probably more cuts and more and like a little bit more lean on him, but it wasn't like bulky like
15.
Mike.
And was still just as fast and can jump as high. Like, it just made him it like Frank said, it made it to where he can get through those bumps and that contact, and still finish.
Right.
What you saying, Wick? Go ahead. Add on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, conditioning has always been a part of the game, but like Frank said, Mike was lifting, like, you know what I mean. He damn near powerlifting to put on the muscle. You know what I mean? So like.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see that.
Is that shit even good for you?
Well, Mike had about what, like 215 on the bench.
That's lightweight E. That's lightweight E.
For somebody that didn't lift like that, that's heavy.
Yeah, lightweight.
For somebody who just started lifting like that, because Mike said he didn't lift weights like that.
Yeah. Now he built up to it. He didn't start off with 215. Like he built up to it.
Yeah. But like you're saying, though, obviously you don't want to go too heavy, but he had to lift at a certain weight. But like everybody touched the point that I was saying. I was just gonna say that he was lifting to put on the weight, and he was tired of getting bullied and pushed around by the Pistons, and getting fouled and flying all over the place. So he wanted to stand his ground, and he wanted to let people know, like, yo, I'm here. Let's go. I'm tired of getting bullied. And even Pippen too, like you could see by the years, you could see the even in the definition in his arms of Mike and Pippen, you could tell they was working out. Get stronger and put the muscle on, because those games that Mike came out and it looked like he just came off the bench.
Well, that's how I had to lift before I played. So I didn't feel right if I didn't. All right, so we'll go ahead. Oh, okay.
I'm good.
All right, so we'll finish it off with kind of how they finished it off. We'll finish the pod off. What was your thoughts on the Pistons walking off without shaking their hand?
It's on my TV.
Go ahead. Start off then with it, Wick. Go ahead, take it.
I was going to ask this earlier. I was going to say, did anybody think it was wrong?
Huh?
Because the Celtics.
I think it was.
Everybody doesn't matter.
But hold on.
Go ahead.
Let me just jump in and answer this one, right? I think it's wrong for this reason.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You don't like winning. You don't like losing. So when I've had moments where I didn't want to take the other team's hand, but if they came over, I dapped them up. But I had to go to my own space to calm down. But the thing was, Jordan, each time he lost, he went over and paid them respect. Like, hey, man, good job. You beat me. Blah, 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 blah. The problem is, once he beats you, you got to give that man that same respect. You can't sit there and go, well, we left the court because the Pistons did it to us. Nah, bro. When you were beating him, he shook your hand like a man. Now it's time to repay that. You can't just sit there and slink off to the side and go like, oh, well, we just going to creep out and it's no big deal. Nah, He made it a point to shake your hand on camera, do an interview after it on the floor. Don't be a cat. To me, it was cowardly. It was cowardly. Just
I don't agree
get
with
that same respect.
Like, no matter what, like you said, Jordan shake their hands. No matter what, you should at least acknowledge the team. Respect is there. If you don't like us, you don't like us, but just respect it. Because before that, they shook hands when they won.
I mean, I just don't like it. It's just.
And then you walking right past our bench. You ain't.
It's just that's why I was going like. It's the optics of it. Like you had to walk literally in front of them. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't gotta shake. You ain't gotta shake their hand. Like you could even just give them a pound. Like good job. Like ain't nobody saying you gotta be all Joe, right? Like but like at least, yeah, like good job, yeah,
or just acknowledgement. Just acknowledgement would have been.
On the way out,
That's what I say.
I'm hiding, like
yeah. The way Isaiah walked out was like he was ducked, hiding. And he had a smirk on his face, like it was cowardly. Like I didn't, for Pistons to do that, to somebody special. Mike was young, and he just went in, getting his first.
It was 4-0. They swept him.
You know what I mean? He got over the hump.
Yeah. I think that's what added to it too, because they actually swept them.
They swept him. He swept you guys, like so.
Yeah.
But it was so Weasley though, bro. It was Weasley from this aspect. I could get it. I could get it if they was mad, like you know what I'm saying, like they was heated, like. But to sit there and just like you said, put your head down and just like you're avoiding eye contact with them because you know that you're in the wrong. You know what I mean? Like if you won't make eye contact with somebody, you know you in the wrong, bro. Like and just sit there and try to spin it to blaming the Celtics. What the Celtics got to do with that, bro? That's like 5 years later. You already got 2 championships. Like, what does that got to do with anything? Right? It's not like one of my kids making an excuse when they do something. But like 2 weeks ago,
and he's had 20 plus years to go over, right?
You know what I mean? Exactly. Come on, man. That was just Weasley what he did. That's how.
Yeah, Lambeer's he was a captain. He said we ain't doing it. Fuck that.
Didn't they say Lambeer was
the I mean, like coming from Lambeer, I could believe it. Like Lambeer was like, I wasn't gonna shake their hands. Fuck them. Like, okay, cool. You look, you yeah. And, Joe, what's your thoughts, Joe? Real quick.
Shake hands. It's just sportsmanship. No. Listen. Listen. I towards the end of my career, I wasn't the best player.
In a championship game,
but I said towards the end of my career, I wasn't the best player. But I knew when we hustled, we played hard, and when we lost, we lost. But you shake hands.
See? That's what I was about to say. It depends on how we lost. Like, if we lost and it's on some BS, I ain't shaking nobody's hand. Leave me alone. Like, don't say nothing to me. Like, you know what I mean? But if you beat us, you know what I'm saying, and everything went cool, like, we just lost. Like, all right, cool, good game. I'm not gonna go over there and be all Joe and be dapping you and like it'll just be like a pound. Like, all right, cool, good job. Like, I acknowledge that you won, but
No, I feel two ways. I feel two ways about it. I agree with you, Rock, and I agree with you, Joe. And it also does come down like how everything goes down. But at the same time, if you compete against somebody and they didn't have any, you take the L, but you didn't have, even if the ref did something, if it wasn't on the player, you know what I'm saying? The refs is just bad. Hey man, good game, bro. Like, but I've also had my moments where
I was about to say that I done seen both you and Frank.
Or I was going to
just walk off. We all walked off together. Y'all looked to my left and my right, and y'all was right with me. Like nobody was shaking nobody's hand.
it had to been if we was all off, if we just played terrible.
We might have played terrible, or we might not have had like our games, but it was just the fact that.
Was it the pickup game or was it a league game? Is it a league
game? Pickup. We ain't care. Like, pickup. We ain't care. I mean, we ain't really lose too many. We ain't really lose too many pickup games because like it's unlimited fouls. So like if we down, like you just gonna have to keep calling it. Yeah, like you just gonna have to keep calling it. Like
keep counting till you get back.
If it's a league game, you gotta shake.
League games, we ain't shake hands. And that's why I was like, that's why I'm saying like, because like Greg saying, oh well, you're supposed to do it. I done seen you and Frank walk off the court. Now Joe was right. Joe will always shake hands.
Hey, Rock, I gotta say that in case my kids ever listen to this podcast. Shake hands.
Oh,
shake hands.
No, I watched off. It had to been either it was the ref or we had like a bad game. That was the only thing.
But so you did what I did.
No, it was no dunk. There's no dunk.
But we ain't doing like that because we won't smirking and we won't like weaseling off. We just walked off.
No, Eric. I'll tell you a story. Eric, I'll tell you a story. I don't even know if I was playing with Rock and Frank at this time, but I was on the PSC league. I forget what team I was playing with. We lost, right? And I'm mad. Because we should have. These games used to go to 70 fixed score. So when we lost, man. I literally was so mad. I could not shake hands with anybody. I had to go sit down. The other team came over because I had a good game. They was just like, look, man, we get it. You upset. Like, we don't hold no grudges. Like, good game. So I dapped them up. They came over and walked to me and said, but I could not bring myself to go over there and congratulate them because I was pissed. I was that pissed. Like, I admit it. Like, but it's sometimes you literally cannot do it because you're mad. You don't want to lose, like, you know what I mean? So, but that wasn't what Isaiah showed on that one. That's not what Lambeer showed on that. That wasn't in the moment. I can't process this. It was that exact. Thank you. Exactly. That was you know what? We just ain't going to do it, man. We just gonna walk through. Like come on, what is that?
Yeah, no. The way they did it, it wasn't cool.
Man,
it wasn't cool. All right, well, good pie, fellas. You know what I mean? That was real nice, man. Y'all got any final words before we sign off here? Okay.
I can't wait for
episode
5 and 6 tomorrow.
Thanks for allowing me to be a part of this.
The man, a few words. E.
Dennis Rodman, baby.
Frank. Frank.
Yeah. The podcast was good. I can't wait for tomorrow's documentary to come out. Excited for it too. So.
Well, before we get off here, I want all you brothers to stay safe, man. Just, as much as you can.
Yes, sir.
And then give a shout out to a fellow of our men of honor fellas that couldn't make it tonight. Erik Castano and Ant. But until next week, everybody.
Be safe, everybody.
Y'all be safe, man. This concludes another great episode of the Men of Honor podcast. Please go and subscribe to our YouTube page at MOH Podcast to catch all of the episodes. And don't forget to hit that like button and drop us a comment. Also follow us on Spotify at m.o.h Men of Honor Podcast. The link is in the description below. And like all episodes, this episode is brought to you by Fezek Athletics, where you can go get all of your fitness gear and daily supplements today. Log on at www.fezekeathletics.com to get 15% off that first order. I want to thank all the fellas, all of their input and conversation. Frank at Fezek Frank, Eric Whitford at Swiss Burgundy, Joe at Joseph Paransky,
Greg at Gregory McCray Jr. on Facebook. Erik Castano at Eric.Castano. Ant at Silverware90. And of course, myself, Javon, aka Rock, at Forever King Henry 33. Follow all of us on Instagram, and also follow Men of Honor Podcast on Instagram as well at MOH Podcast. Again, we thank you all for listening. We hope you all stay safe and blessed. Until next time.